Hello everyone, this is William with Allegory Gallery Interviews, and I'm here today with Christi Friesen.
Hi.
Kelly Russell.
Hello.
And Andrew Thornton.
Hello.
And this episode is going to be a little different. We're just going to start talking a little bit and let you join in our conversations.
Yay! We like talking a little bit.
They're so brave.
Everyone here's been friends for quite a while now, right?
Yeah.
About 15
We
years.
all met each other at the same show, we realized.
Yeah.
And kind of like for the first time for all of us, yeah.
Tucson.
Yeah.
It was in
Were you
Tucson.
even there, William?
Yeah.
No.
So we didn't know William until later.
No, because when I first met Andrew, I tried to set him up with my son.
I see. Okay, gotcha.
And William has kindly William has kindly forgiven me, so we're all good on that.
How's your son?
But I wanted Andrew and his family to be part of mine, so because it was so cool. I know, but it was really cool. I'd never met such an artistic family.
Their families.
You know.
Family now, anyways.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
But I met Greg first, so that was the interesting part. And then I met Cynthia and Greg up in Pennsylvania. No, in Delaware. In Delaware, at the Firehouse show. And then I met you. And I didn't even realize that was out in Tucson. So it was like 3 years running. Yeah.
It's funny how the intersection of things, because we were talking about this just because we've been blabbing while we're all here together, of just like people that you see at shows over and over and over again for years before you finally actually talk more than, hello, how's your show? Your show's good. Okay. You know, and then you finally connect. Yeah.
Starting shows, because I wasn't in any of it.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I was working for Apple.
Social butterfly.
I was working for Apple.
With a lot of introvert.
Helping a show.
Anyway, what is going on here?
And then everyone was just flying around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we
Behind the table at a show,
consider them
people
all
don't know what's
friends,
going on.
even though we, if you really look at it, you really don't know each other until years later.
You're kind of in this, I don't want to say hostile environment, but it's a retail environment. And
But it doesn't feel like that sometimes.
Retail environment.
Yeah, and I think it's more.
But it is, it's a sort of behind the table and in front of the table, and the people like us behind the table, that's a different like little tribe than the people in front of the table, even though we share a lot of the same things.
Right.
At a show, it's two camps in that sense. So you kind of got your gypsy friends that are all going through this sort of weird vagabond lifestyle with you when you're at a show.
Crazy hair, tattoos.
Sneaking in food, trying to figure out how to get a potty break, it's a weird
Who to
thing.
buy beads from.
Right. Surviving when it's too quiet or not quiet, big piles of people. Yeah, there's some weird stuff.
Or you're going to all eat for dinner and hope you get in and out on time. So you get up the next
one
morning.
time at a Tucson show, for some reason, I looked around and realized, I don't know how this happened, but in my one little teeny room with the two very small beds, there were 13 people sleeping in there.
Really?
Just, 1 year, because like this
I did
person
that
needed a
in
day to
Tucson.
crash,
We
and
had
these people
11
showed
people in the
up,
room
and
with
I
each
bought
button.
some. And it's like, okay, this is a little crazy. Is everybody kind of doing this, or it's just me weird?
House once, and there was no furniture in it.
Really?
We had to cuddle on little blankets and their mattresses, and there was, I think, 6 different couples and families all
Wow,
Wow.
big mess, yeah. It's a weird life.
We had a party too.
What else can you do?
You guys used to always have parties. Who are you kidding? Oh, we're having a party. We're going to have a band. We're going to have coffee and tea and liquor and food.
But no furniture.
No furniture. Sit on the floor.
Bring your own
Grab a rug.
I think that this is kind of special because you're getting kind of the inside kind of late night table discussions that we are used to.
Yes.
But not everybody's privy to it.
No.
Yeah.
Right. Because when you let your hair down after you've closed your store up for the day, you finished your workshop, you stopped doing whatever, your social interaction, then you're just giggling about shared things or making weird comments and laughing or reminiscing about struggles, It's kind of cool. I mean, everybody does that. But all ours are kind of circling around that same thing again.
I think people see you behind a booth and they see one thing, and then you have to realize that everybody is just people. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, they're just as worn out as anybody.
Yeah, and they want to be happy about the purchases they made from you because you're happy that they made the purchases from you.
And,
So,
and the people behind the booth are worn out.
it is a synergy, I think.
They let their hair down at the end of the night.
Yeah.
So it's funny to
Especially
see.
me.
Especially
You let so much of that hair just flows down.
I shave my head.
So now it's just virtual hair.
Virtual hair.
That leg hair.
It's massive.
And we haven't even been drinking. Wow.
Well, cranberry juice. I mean,
That's from now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's
Oh my
fun.
God.
So what's everyone's best show experience? Or one of your best?
I have one. You go first, Kelly.
The best one I had was, well, I had two fun ones, but the best one I had is a woman came from Belgium.
No, the one where we met. No, I'm just kidding.
I will tell that one. But she came over from Belgium, and she was a teacher, so she was allowed in on the floor a little bit before, like an hour before. She came to my booth, and she bought 15 beads.
And her beads ain't cheap.
Yeah.
They are more than $2 each. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they're in the hundreds each one. And I said, she goes, I want to see that one, that one, that one, that one. And I said, so do you want a couple of these and you want me to put these back so you can help to make the decision? Oh no, I want all of these.
That's awesome.
It paid for my booth, my
That's a
travel,
great
my
show
food,
right
the
there.
first night before we even done it.
Furniture for her empty rented home. Everything.
No, we started doing better in the rentals by then. We thought we were doing big time. We rented a house and there was only 5 of us, and we had master bedrooms each.
I live in the
That was in Tucson though, and private bathrooms. So, but
those are heady feelings when you
when you think you've arrived, and then you find out the next year, oh no, that was
a fluke.
That was a speed bump. That was to get you up to speed, but you just flew over that a little too fast.
Because we're so eager to get to that spot where we feel like, maybe I could breathe for 5 minutes instead of hustle all the time. But
And then
no, you
no.
cannot.
Because people, and that's a good point too. People see our online persona, and people see your in-show persona, which is really you. But they don't see how much
This
work
is one facet of you.
Yeah.
you're working. To
I mean, most people are working 40 hours a week and complaining, and we're probably working 80 to 120 all out, sanding, middle of the night. We're sanding and buffing and polishing.
Right, and it is a lot of work to get there.
But I also think like there's a difference because of the internet and social media and what people expect. I think it's changing a little bit now with like the Facebook Lives and the more interactive thing. But for the longest time, I posted a lot of introspective, very thoughtful, mindful things, and that's definitely a part of me. That shows that it's all about feeding the energy, being extroverted, and kind of showman.
And excited, and so that excitement rubs off. And
I think some people had a hard time kind of wrapping their head around the two different personalities.
Yeah. Well, when I used to get home from those shows, it would be like a week of not talking to anybody. I'd just sit in a chair, stunned. I was done. You know, I had been cooked, the fork had been stuck in me,
flipped over,
now baking, marinating.
There's a lot of energy. I mean, we've all kind of dabbled on the idea of just your psychological energy and, you know, how we interact with each other. And when somebody comes into a room, because we all work retail to one degree or another, somebody comes into the room and their energy is happy and vibrant, how it energizes. If somebody is cranky and angry, it's this cloud that kind of pushes their way in with you. And I think the show environment is sort of, it's intensifying all of that because you're bombarded with energies constantly.
And it's not just one person entering the room. There's hundreds of people.
The people who are buying and the people who are selling are getting all of that. Yeah, exactly.
It's like what you said on your interview early, where you were getting the fullness of the experience. You know, and it really is. It's
it's full on.
Going to a bead show, and I did this for a couple years before I was behind the table at a bead show, and it was exciting. It was happy. You could buy things. You were excited. You were wondering why the people behind the table look so damn tired. You should be happy and excited. You made these things. These are beautiful. People want to buy them. I'm going to go tell my friends. Oh, tell your friends. Yeah, we'll see you later.
Driving to the show and setting up all the
Oh my God! All in one day.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
The days before the show when you're rushing to get it all done. Yeah.
And then you think, oh, what did I leave at home? And you plan. So I used to have to plan how many beads I was going to make in a day or a week to fill my bead boards, because everything. When I go to a show, everything is sewn down and ready on this. So I just have to whip it out and put it up. It's all priced. Everything's done, and so
that's an anomaly, by the way.
Yeah,
hardly anyone does that.
But it takes me a week before. So if I had to do that. Oh my God!
That's why most of the time you cannot find a price on something.
And that's why most of the time my friends are crabby at the end of the show when I say bye.
Kelly, I still have to tie all these necklaces off.
Really? I got all these beads I got to put in a box. Sew them down, baby.
So what was your favorite show, Christy?
Okay, it's just a small moment because I've had a lot of fun bits, but this was also early on in my career.
Right?
It was actually the same show, but here's a different memory from that show. I kind of erupted onto the scene rather through the side door and all at once, because the things that I was doing was not like anybody else's polymer at the moment.
No.
So I got a flavor of the month thing right off the bat, which is very heady.
Nice.
It was very exciting.
We had good shows, both of us.
Oh yeah, we did.
That weekend.
And one of the things I made were these big drama necklaces at the beginning. Back in the day when people wore ginormous necklaces with birds on them and chains everywhere. And I remember that I was wearing one of my necklaces. It was at Tucson. Tucson. I had escaped my one show and I was checking out another show. And as I came around and I walked in the door, the lady stopped me and she looked at my chest and said, "Is that a Christi Friesen?"
Ooh.
And I went, "It is, and so am I." I just thought that same moment, like, "Hey, I've arrived, someone's recognized me." Yeah, it was a very exciting.
It's wild looking.
How much it means when somebody recognizes your stuff before you.
Yeah, because they didn't know this face, but they recognized, is that like, who are you wearing? I kind of felt like, whoa. Yeah, then that's never happened since then. But it was really good that first time. It felt great. I'd savored the moment.
I had some lady scream across the parking lot at the airport, "Kelly Russell!" And I'm like, what did I do? Nobody's supposed to know me in the middle of Chicago. I've never been here before.
That's like when I lived in New York. I was on the subway platform, and this woman rushes up. She's like, Andrew Thornton. And I'm like, I said, the IRS? What is this?
Yeah, what's happening? What do we do?
Oh, yeah.
Who needs to know?
What is this? And so she starts digging in her shirt, and I was like, what is going to happen here? And she reaches and she pulls out a necklace, and it was a necklace from instructions that I made for a magazine.
Oh, nice.
In a city of millions of people,
She found you.
one fan.
Where? And wore it that day.
Where are the other seven?
Oh, that's too
But
funny.
one of those things where somebody recognizes and appreciates your work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of a special thing.
Yeah, because
like,
it's surprising.
It is, because, when you're an artist, you are taking pieces of yourself and you are putting it out there saying, everyone, please love me a little bit.
Right.
And so when they do and they cherish that, it replenishes that piece of you that you let go because someone's loving it. They're not just casting aside or onto something else. And so when that happens, it really is a glowing moment for an artist.
And I think it's interesting because, I'm not necessarily a maker of things.
You did all right this weekend, Buster.
Thank
You did.
But you see, when people are selling things, they put on a persona or they're selling face or whatever it is, and you can get the impression that they're full of themselves or that they think their work is so great. But when you really see behind the scenes and you sit and talk with people, you realize that they're just hoping that somebody recognizes something they do or that they don't really have that.
Yeah.
I think it would be fun if everybody came to a show in the clothes they work in. Can you imagine? I would love that. I would love that. Well, yeah, but
They wouldn't like that. Is what I'm saying.
but antiperspirant would be a big thing. I granted.
Pajamas at that show.
There would be a lot of pajamas and t-shirts and sweatpants, but
That'd be
I think it would be an eye-opener to the audience to see. Well, that too.
Starving artists, guess
But
what?
you know what? I used to always get dressed up
I won
because I'm selling high-item things or high-cost things, so I would always get dressed up. I'm not comfortable in those clothes, so in addition to having a problem talking to the customers,
Now you gotta
that
wear things that you
strangers I don't know that I'm hoping have enough money and enough love for my pieces to buy something, and then trying
gotta
not
wear
to
some
feel
fancy
disappointed when they
clothes.
walk away. I'm trying to also be comfortable in these clothes that are not my t-shirt and sweatpants or skirt, you know, because that's literal.
Yeah,
Yeah, barefoot, you know, and now when I'm in hotels, I walk barefoot. I don't care.
We'll visit you in the hospital.
Yeah. I don't eat. I do not eat with my feet. Thank you.
Yeah.
As you go in the parking lot. And I think it's nice to be able to share these experiences because oftentimes as a maker, it's very isolating.
Right.
Yeah, you work
I'm in
by
my-
yourself.
I'm in my studio. Sometimes if I don't catch William at the right time, I can go days without talking to
Yeah.
another person.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
I
me
think
too.
a universal. Yeah,
Mhm.
it is very alone. So you do either withdraw and then have a hard time to interact, or you really crave that interaction.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm a little different in some ways because I have as much out in amongst people than others just because of the other parts of my business aspect.
Yeah.
But every time I talk to other artists, that is really true. I mean, they have been by themselves.
Well, I
for
came
a
back
long
from
time.
China with all those ideas, and I didn't leave my house for 6 weeks.
Yeah, you
Somebody
because it's things to
said-
do.
My girlfriend said, "So, is there any chance of you coming up to see me before we go to Clayathon?" And I said,
Nope.
Probably not.
"I've been out once. I got milk. Got my medicine. We're done."
I still
I
got
said,
things
"So
to write
figure
down.
the odds. We're not
I'm
coming
on
out."
Pinterest. Don't bother me.
No, I wasn't on Pinterest. I was downstairs in the studio. That's
Too
funny.
bad they don't have milkmen anymore.
I know. Damn. I'm telling you. But you know, they have those Peapod cars from Giant, and I'm thinking about starting to get a milk delivery.
Oh, there you go.
What
That's
is
right.
it?
It's Peapod.
I don't
Oh no,
know
is it
these
Peapod?
I hope not. 'Cause
It's
that's
giant.
terrible marketing. To see.
things. Peapods?
Yeah.
Well, maybe I called the guy that I knew Peapod. I used to work with a guy who was one of the drivers,
No.
and so I think maybe I called.
Oh, he
Peapod.
probably just
But
called
maybe
them
they
that because of the way
called
they look.
Anyway,
Yeah.
the van is Peapod Green, so but
Oh.
giant food store in Maryland.
Well, that is that mystery solved.
Yeah.
I'm glad to get the bottom of
Yeah,
that.
I know, but I could get my milk delivered by Peapod. That'd be all
That's
right.
right.
Maybe a drone.
A what?
A drone.
soon.
A
Drone. No, that's electronic. I'd have to know. I'd have to know that computer stuff.
Analog
You're
drone.
illiterate. Happy to be so.
Drop off my milk.
I just talk to a person.
No.
I get so mad when I get answering machines, and you have to listen to all those messages just to push the O button to talk to a real person because you didn't understand any of the previous messages you just listened to.
Well, I think
Drives
it's
me crazy.
interesting that you mentioned that because we're starting to do more with technology.
Mhm.
Like right now, we're doing a podcast.
Right.
Right.
Here, Christy's doing live.
Yeah. All that stuff. Yeah. Facebook Live. Right.
William.
Yeah.
William fixed my camera.
So going
my
back like
phone.
from the person
I'm still thinking
behind
of it
the
as a
counter
camera.
talking to the person in front of the counter, one-on-one interactions, which we still do, but not nearly as much because of this.
Yes.
So now we reach out. I mean, I love the fact that I have people all over the world, and I can tell how late I'm up because here comes all the Europeans, they're online
Yeah.
now.
Oh,
And here
yeah.
comes all the Aussies, they're online now. You
Yeah.
know, and I better go to bed because the Aussies are getting up or whatever,
Yeah.
you know, and you just
I
realize
have a
that we've
couple
got
of them
these
I talk
people
to in the morning
all
right
over
before
the
I go to
place,
bed.
right? So no longer is that Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We used to have late night phone calls, like 2 or 3 hours long.
Yeah, I'd put on my earphones and get busy with
And
my hands. And
my
then I
son
could
Mark
talk.
would bang on the ceiling. Okay, you guys are getting a little rowdy down there. Maybe take it to the basement, girl.
So you don't have to be as alone in your studio anymore because
No.
you can have all that.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, Facebook's been amazing to reach out and kind of create that community.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
It's definitely different, and I feel like the shows are different now too.
I think for a million reasons, yeah, they
Yeah.
sure are. It's the heyday is gone because
think.
it's, I was thinking about this too, and I think part of it is with the advent of the internet being as pervasive as it has, and all of the streaming of entertainment that you can get. One of the reasons so many people did do craft and then bought craft was because there wasn't as many opportunities to interact and to be entertained.
Right.
So that was a very live way of
Right.
doing that. But now, you've got so many other ways to be distracted. There's so many ways to buy things.
And
The
so many
need
ways to
is not
learn.
there. So as an artist, if we're not adapting to that new reality, we can be analog and we joke about that, but it's like it's change or die. You can wait for people to call you randomly and say, "Do you happen to sell beads?" Oh, great.
Making a comment?
I am. Or, I have to say, I so am.
You in a direction.
No, she's been physically pushing.
Yes, because I watch this girl who can do fabulous things, but not as ready to embrace the technology as
No,
some people,
not.
which is fine. There's no judgment there.
Oh,
But it's
I
like,
found a
people need to
really-
see you, Kelly. Get out and show them what you're doing. Yeah.
I'm really introverted more and more lately, and it's because I want to be in the studio more and more.
I get that.
don't want to be out. When I lived in Mississippi, and the man I was telling you about in my interview, Jerry, I loved going to see him all the time. I'd go and help him rearrange his gallery and do all these things. They had first Saturday or second Saturday, first Friday in Virginia. But so everybody in the neighborhood would gather, and it was a town just like yours.
Community.
It was small. Everybody came. All the galleries were open late night. All the restaurants were open. People walked in and out and saw old friends and gathered with the community. And it is a really big thing down there. And they've continued it. And it's now like 30, 35 years old. So I was always out for that or helping with that or making things for that. And so, but I wasn't in my studio as much. I had kids. I had a job. I was working in an art gallery. But you think, oh, an art gallery is so boring. What are they going to do? Wait for a customer to come in? But you can't. You got all those other little niddly pit things to do, and so I wasn't getting a lot of work done. So I
Now
pretty
you
much
just want
stopped.
to be down in there and just don't bother me.
I don't bring my phone. I don't bring my computer. It's a no phone zone.
Yeah, unless I call, then she will. So.
Yeah, but that's
I'm
more.
kidding,
No,
I'm
it is true. You are on the list, but I have several people that are on the list. But it's only if Morgan's awake to answer the phone, and then it goes right to answer, and then I'll call her back. But
Well, as you know, I don't answer my phone.
I noticed that, William.
But it's that full circle we just talked about of that needing alone time to. No.
We'll discuss that later. That's not always.
To make an exception.
Yeah, with me.
Because she'll just keep on calling.
I did actually. I called him 3 times before I left, and I didn't hear shit. So, I said, "Fine, I'm packing it all up and taking it."
Taking
to
it
him.
anyway. I'll see.
Figure it out when you're here.
So let's see what Kelly's got. She's got 4 damn bags.
That's what we like to
Nice.
see.
Yeah.
Well, we're all here, which is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has been fun. It's been nice getting together out of our studios, away from behind the tables, although we love all that stuff, and just giggling with each other. It's a good thing.
Since I told you earlier, I would tell how Christi and I, not first met, but this was in the show that we first met. Lewis Wilson put us in a booth together, and so I was on the front, she was on the side, and she kept coming in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. And she would, and I was sitting right there. No, she was going, every time a customer comes.
Dang, I wish I'd eaten all that watermelon, drank that beer, and had all those lemons.
But every time a customer would come, she'd be right out there, wham, wham, talking. It was
What?
me, I'd have like 1 or 2 going, oh, yeah. and then walk off because they had already spent all their money with her. But I turned around to talk to her, and there would be her butt. And I turned around to talk to her, there would be her butt. She's been down in front of me all the time. So I was saying one day, I said I had enough, and I went sweat right across her ass. And she goes, "What'd you do that for?" I said, "Because I'm tired of seeing it. If you're always going to put it in my face, I would slap it." We've been friends ever since.
That's exactly right. We've been best buddies.
We have been. Every time I've wanted advice, you've been there.
So slap Christy on the ass.
But you better have good reason. You know.
There's sort of bad precedent.
Well, maybe. It might be fun in a dark night.
I do not endorse this broadcast.
Or that product.
Like, disclaimer time.
Well, it's funny because somebody asked me today in the class, they said, "And so how long have you known Christy?" "Oh, ages. You really don't want me to tell you how long." But she looked at my stuff and she said, "So did Christy make those?" I said, "No, I made those. I just know her."
I don't have her make my stuff for me. But it was so cute because, you know, I could have.
No, you I'm kidding you. Those things, and she said, "Oh, I never thought of that."
That's what I said.
So how do you feel like, you kind of talked about that in your segment about how you've drawn inspiration from Christy. How do you feel your relationship as kind of a collaborative?
Oh, yeah. I think we both inspire each other because we work so differently, but there's always something you're doing that I think is really cool. And you're very helpful to tell me, like, "Oh, you know, you can use this thing and that thing." I'm like, "Oh, okay. I never heard of that thing." And so we do a lot of, you know, technique back and forth.
And I find that by watching her videos, because I'm part of that Christy A Go-Go. I love watching that stuff, you know, and I know her sister Stacy, and now I think I'm good friends with Vic.
Yes, absolutely.
And he's so nice. He does great photography, and I studied that too. Well, so, you know, but
yeah.
so anyway, but she has little tricks that I watch on the thing, and she did this graffito. I always get that wrong
You
when
did
I'm
it
trying to
perfectly.
say it.
You said
Anyway,
it right.
she did that, and I'm thinking, okay, it's going to be a turtle, you know, big turtle, whoopie-doo. But even though I love that, I've seen her do it before, and I love her stuff, and I own a buttload of it. But she started to do the mosaics on the shell, and I thought she was just going to do a big spiral, you know, because it's a free class, so you normally think, let's do something quick and easy that everybody can hit. And she didn't. She did a nice little big part, you know, big circle, like half a moon, 3/4 moon, and then she did another little moon shape, and then another little moon shape. And then the way she did some of her beadwork, I wouldn't have thought to do it. She put her seed beads on a piece of wire, and then shaped the wire the way she wanted, and then pulled out the wire. Duh! I'd never thought of it before. It was.
And when you see it, it's like, well, of course, right?
But
But
it's
if
like,
you haven't done it yourself, you don't
and
think
it's
of
like,
it until somebody
it's
does
like
it.
the aha moment.
Yeah.
You pay $600 for a class that's 3 day long, and you get
Right.
2 or 3 of those moments like that will make your work so much easier and look so much better. And we trade these back
Yeah,
and forth.
because I'll do the same things like Kelly. I saw this thing, but this was going this way, and I think they use this and that. And they're like,
They'll say
no. Let me tell you how that. So it's really fun to have a peer artist
Yeah,
who is
and I
willing
like that
to
part.
talk technique with you, because neither one of you feel threatened. And I don't think anyone
No.
ever should feel threatened in art, but the reality of it is we're humans and we do. But if you've got somebody, you know, whatever they do is going to be very different than your thing. So sharing technique ideas is just going to make it better for both of you, and that's really cool to do.
Yeah,
I love that.
I really treasure.
Yeah, me too.
And I think you and I do the same thing, Andrew. Yeah.
Well, I think it's important when you find your tribe, you know, to support each other, because it's like you were saying, it does get competitive, especially when it becomes monetized.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
It's inevitable.
And especially how people are very proprietary over their idea.
Well, I think too in polymer, especially, I've noticed this a little bit in lamp working and a lot in seed beads. That if you design something, then supposedly you're the creator of that forever and ever. And if you do anything like it, you just get blackballed. But in polymer, it's like, oh, I see. You can make something with somebody's technique, and the technique can't be copyrighted. So So
Right.
that's a whole different kettle of fish. But you'll look at something and, oh, well, that's a Kathleen Dustin technique, or that's a Bettina Walker technique, or that's this and that. And so it's hard to find your own voice, use these techniques you want to learn. A lot of people just don't go further with it.
Yeah.
They don't push that technique out and make it become their own. And I think
And that's
you
why you
have,
need
and I
friends like
try.
this who
So
are
it
not
really
afraid
helps.
to kind of share with each other their experiments and helping everybody move farther down the road.
Right.
Because, like we started this conversation talking about being behind the booth, supporting the
Right.
artists behind the booth. And ultimately, you are putting pieces of your soul on the table with the expectation that someone will identify that soul, want it to be part of theirs, give you their hard-earned cash so that you can pay the bills to keep doing that, right? So
Right.
it's kind of an interesting little
Right.
contract we have with each other that way.
Mhm.
So when you do find your tribe, and your tribe can each help each other succeed at that and
Right.
nurture that, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that the best, I
I
think.
do too, and if we can also giggle over chocolate cake, that is just a plus.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
But I think it's important, like, I don't do ceramic art, but I I use a lot of ceramic art in my necklaces and pieces because that's the way I help support my friends that make that, and so there's
Yeah,
no...
you're great at that. You guys are great at
But
that.
there's no, animosity. There's no wondering if you're going to come in and steal a technique. And so I think what I try to do is look at different techniques in lamp working and woodworking or ceramics and try to bring it into polymer.
Yeah.
So even if I learn a new technique from a polymer artist, then I can mix it in with these other techniques that I've learned for other things and make it
becomes
into
a new
something
thing.
my own.
Sure, yeah.
It's so interesting to hear your processes because I kind of feel like you're a creative magpie. And you definitely, Christy, you do a lot of things with mixed media.
Yeah.
But I feel like with yours, they're definitely streamlined through that play. Like that's first.
Yeah.
And with Kelly, I feel like your work is kind of exploring all the things that you've always been interested in, and they kind of congeal and coalesce over,
It's like my library.
And then like your stuff to me is very story and narrative centric. It's
Yep.
like you are
Yep.
processing the world as you have experienced it and as you see it, and then you're taking some of those deep secret things and they show up in your work.
You'd make
which
a
I
good
think is
witch.
good.
No, I think a lot of his...
Yeah, I was gonna say what?
I didn't say bitch, William. I said witch.
Art is a kind of magic, isn't it?
Yeah,
It is.
but I think you and Cynthia do that really well, and I'm going to include her in this because I really like her work too. You guys have, it's kind of like the other world is your touchstone, and I see you there a lot, both of you.
Oh, thanks.
And I think you...
I can't speak for Cynthia.
Right.
I do often, but I can't. But,
Shouldn't. What
I think a lot of it comes from you're taking something from the ether, your
Right.
ideas, dreams, thoughts. You're passing it through your head, your mind, then through your heart, and then through your hand.
Right.
And so there's a magic in kind of manifesting this abstract thought,
Yes.
giving it physical body, and then making it accessible.
Yeah, making it sort of a universal that anyone looking at it, well, most people looking at it would get the message almost intuitively. That's special.
But I think, like you were saying, there's a contract with with your audience.
Yeah.
Like, even though I meant that the color green means growth and prosperity, that might mean something completely different to somebody who, got hit in the face with a green brick once,
Right.
Yeah.
So
They probably wouldn't have liked it at all.
no. So you can't predict those
No.
Reactions, yeah.
Well, you can't because you're just putting a piece of yourself out there. You're not putting a piece of them out there.
But I think
So
when your work is really successful and it really sings, it's when it transcends even those cognitive decisions. And it's one of those things that truly speaks from the heart and,
Yeah.
That's when beauty connects.
and that's why I'm trying to make pieces that I like instead of what I think will sell. Because I could make things that could
I
sell
think
all
we've
day
all
long.
been talking about that.
Yeah.
And that I think that's one of the things as an artist that when you start to come to that realization, you start to grow, is that you have to follow what amuses you and where you think you should speak, and not thinking of the end product. But sadly, since we're all wearing, and that's where we started this conversation, we're all wearing the business person hat.
Yeah.
Keeping the business person out of your head while you're creating is sometimes difficult.
Well, that's why it's no phone zone,
Yeah.
because I don't want to hear from anybody to
While
interrupt
you're-
that.
yeah,
My
yeah.
music's on, the oven's on, the
Yeah,
the
you're in that
dancing's occurring in the aisles,
Yeah.
not prettily, but it's still happening, and I feel
Yeah.
happy. And
Yeah, I think
so. Using colors I like; those are things, and subject matter I like, and so
Then
that
you reemerge and you put it out there, and you want your peers
And
to
then
give
you
you
get it
advice,
there and you
want
go,
your customers to
"Damn,
wrap-
that's a great piece."
Yeah, that's a good
There's
day.
a lot of mutual appreciation
Yeah.
at this table.
I think so too. Yeah, we all like each other's stuff.
Yep.
And support each other's works.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think we all own each other's works.
Oh hell yeah.
I think so.
Mhm.
Yeah.
we do.
William, get on it.
He owns
We'd like
more
to-
than the rest of us.
No, I mean, I'd like to
his
include
work.
some of his into ours, and so he's got to start making some stuff.
His magic's a little bit different.
Well, that's true. Here we are. He got us into this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No, and that's the
That's a
thing.
big
I
thing
like-
for me.
Everyone knows I think I like technology, and I like,
Yeah.
but it's more than that. And I grew up with small business.
Mhm.
My family worked for the same small business still. I mean, for 20, 30 years now. And I've always looked for ways to try to promote what people do.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
small business owners are some of the most passionate people I think ever.
Yeah.
And so, and whether I say business, whether that's an official business or whether it's just
Like what we're doing.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, or just
Well,
sell to your friends. I mean,
Yeah, but a lot of people don't consider artists as business
No.
people, so it is,
it's sad.
And that's so silly to me, because I feel like when you're an artist and you're also a business person, sometimes that's when you're working so
Double hard.
Right.
you're working two
Because
jobs.
more than that.
Well, yeah,
You're
no,
the
but
promoter, you're the
advertiser,
Salesperson, you're the
retail
complaint department.
display.
Yeah. all
Travel.
stuff, Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always seen technology help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know my aunt works for British Car Parts Supplier, and she was one of the first ones to get a computer in there, to get
let's get
the
this
ordering
right.
system in
Yeah.
there, and the shipping
It's
system.
huge.
And for them, yeah, it was huge.
Mhm.
No one was doing it back then. So I've seen all my life technology be able to push the small business owner and the
Mhm.
artist and
Mhm.
those kind of people, and give them a way to do more by
Yes.
themselves.
For sure.
Because you have to have a way to get out and to reach out and to automate things when it's just you.
Yeah.
Well, I think
I amen to that. I mean, I really think none of us could be artists the way we are now without the internet and all of the stuff that it provides. Those days of just even going to the shows. Remember the old days when you send out postcards to people?
Oh, yeah.
Show up.
Yeah,
I mean,
pay for all that.
Yeah,
That was
that's
the
just
only way.
that was the only way to do
Get
people.
professional photos,
And
find
you'd have
somebody
to
to
put
do it.
years in a show before people kind of knew you and would come
enough to buy from you.
And
Yeah.
now we don't. Like
Now
you can
it's-
overnight practically put your stuff out there,
You're looking
connect.
for likes
Yeah.
now rather than addresses. You don't have to beg
Right.
people for their
Yeah,
address.
exactly.
It's not to spam them with junk mail.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
So I think it's
Now, if they quit sending us their junk mail, we'd be all set.
Well, I think me and Christy talked a little bit about how technology had brought us together.
Yes, yeah.
We'd known each other in person, but and casually.
Right, seeing each other passing.
Mhm.
Yeah,
But it
Dinner
wasn't
every once in a
until
while.
social media
Yeah.
really took place.
Right.
We got to know each other.
Exactly.
We were able to-
I think the same thing for me.
very
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
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 Well, I feel like we had that relationship, but without the technology, it wouldn't be
What it
we
is
don't
now.
answer our phones.
Yeah.
Right,
And I
messaging and I can
don't think so.
right.
But
Well, I do when I come upstairs. And I can talk for hours, ask her.
You know,
But yeah, thank heavens for technology, because how would we be able to see each other if we didn't physically see each other at a show? And we already discussed that we wouldn't really have much interaction there.
Right.
Or the occasional times when we might actually drive to another part of the country or fly to see each other. I mean, it just wouldn't happen. But now we can keep on top of all of the messaging back and forth, so
Yeah.
it's much more fun. So hooray, technology.
and share pictures of your work. You know, it's, I think that you know, I think about artists who were in generations where they had to, you know, write letters.
Or send samples,
Get
send your
patrons.
inventory off to
Yep.
hopefully get in a gallery or hopefully get.
Yeah.
Or slides. You remember slides?
Oh,
Oh,
my
good
God.
grief. What a ridiculous concept that was nowadays.
Hundreds of dollars, and it's pitched in the garbage a lot of times.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Not even returned, yeah.
Yeah.
Or grants. Have you ever tried to apply for a grant?
Oh, too many
Oh,
times.
my God.
Yeah.
That's some hard thing. I used to go, I applied twice, and I went and listened both times. And they tell you that they're going to look at the slides, read all the information that they ask you for on every applicant,
No.
and then you see the slides of the group. And then when you're there in person, you understand how little they do.
I don't know. I've
Well-
sat on grant review committees. And
All right, then this might have been the exception.
That was like nightmare time. And not to say anything bad about our grant review listener, but you have to reach consensus.
Right.
So if there's one person who has a very strong opinion,
Oh yeah, I know, but
oh boy, you could be
one of mine came up, and the woman stated, she goes, I saw the slides, and she posted, you know, they said,
You're talking more jury selection kind of stuff. Jury.
well, it was by jury, but
Right.
there were 5 people looking, and you had the opportunity to send 3 to 5 slides of each piece you did. So if you have 3-dimensional work and every side is different, you're supposed to send in a slide for each side, so they get literally the whole picture.
Yeah.
And the woman said she sent all these slides. I didn't have time to look.
That happens sometimes.
But that's
But that's in the past, and here we are now.
Yeah.
Bigger, better,
It's different.
bolder, happier.
It's I'm sure it's different.
Well, the system can fail at any point.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know.
I think it's one of I think it's
I'm just
one of
saying
those
my
things
experiences
Yeah,
weren't very good.
Right.
And that's, I think, where the tribe is important.
Yeah,
You know, we can support each other
Yeah.
and elevate each other and network
yeah.
amongst ourselves, and it's far more dynamic.
Well, I think
you
it's
get
also easier to get a tribe
Compassion
now.
from each other, of like, oh,
Than
yeah,
it was back then.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, it's, you know, too bad that worked. You know, I worked really hard on slides, so I get it. You know, that kind of thing. You got your friends.
Yeah, but I mean,
It's like we
Yeah.
can offer workshops by an internationally known artist,
Mhm.
author.
Who, I wonder.
Yes,
Who?
we're friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah. And I'm more inclined to want to come here as opposed to other places if I have to choose, because it'd be like, oh, I can hang out with Andrew and William, and then Kelly will be there too. Okay, I'm there.
Yeah.
You know, so that's kind of nice.
Cherry
Yeah.
on the ice cream.
yeah.
But I think
We got
that
ice cream?
No, but we had cake.
I think it's one of those things where there were these traditional, you know, methods of how to succeed as an artist.
Right.
And
It's all being reimagined now, isn't it?
yeah, with technology, with
Mhm.
our friendships,
Yeah.
and with our creativity.
But I really think too that the internet has helped with making it easier to find your tribe members.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
Because
Yeah.
my tribe members are all across the country. I didn't have that support when I went up for the grant. And so I didn't really know. I mean, I did everything they told me on the grant thing. But the guy that won it, he just signed his name. Because they knew his work from before. That was a long time ago. We're talking 20, 25 years. But I'm sure things have changed because of the internet. But if I had had a support system, I wouldn't have felt so bad about it.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's
I just
also,
didn't have it.
you know, too, you are able to know people now.
Mhm.
You know
Yeah.
more people now.
Yeah,
Well,
but I think it's the support system that really makes it, whether
I
it,
feel like, for me and William, I know this sounds a little bit like nepotism, but like you said, I'm more willing to work with somebody who I know will be consistent, be appreciative, and also be flexible. Because if there's somebody who I know is going to be difficult, I'm just gonna be like,
So
peace
like,
out.
and get the work done.
Yeah, that's a big thing where you can count on people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think, you know.
I think I just got fired.
You got like 4 bags of stuff. So
Well, yeah, but
Yeah, nobody in
if
this
you knew what
room.
I had planned and didn't bring, then
Good
I might have
thing, yeah.
been.
Well, you plan to do everything all the time.
I do,
Because there's so many interests, and that's never.
Yeah, that is a problem.
But yeah, and then at the end of the day, you bring what you have, and it's
Well,
all
somebody
okay.
taught me, Joyce Scott, when I was just saying that before. I don't know if I ever finished that thought since I went off on a tear. But she taught me to work in series.
Yeah.
And that is really important for me. You know, you take your basic idea, and it is the basic idea. And then it becomes more and more adult as you get further down
Yeah.
the line and gets more refined.
Right.
And you get more refined in your techniques when you're doing them. And that has really helped me a
Yeah,
lot. So
yeah.
that would be the advice I would give somebody who wants to learn and be an artist.
Yeah, work.
You know, well,
Variation
do what you love. You know, decide what the subject matter is. Is it color? Because then it could just be sheets of color. If it's texture, that's all it has to be. It could be black and white. You know what I mean? If it's faces, do that. If it's transfers, do that. But really study what you love, then make what you love, but make it in a series. Start it at the beginning and go maybe, 5, 10, 20?
Mm-hmm.
You know, a dozen's good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Round dozen is good. And like I'm doing, I want to do the Mad Hatter and Alice in Wonderland. Been done to death.
right.
But the ideas that I have is, and she's been so nice. She sent me a buttload of clock pieces and pocket watches. But I'm looking at it as, from the view of the White Rabbit, he's going to have pocket watches that his friends might have owned as a collection. So it's going to be his collection. And then he's going to have a big clock to start it and a little clock to end it. And they'll be presented on a wall as a collection.
Nice.
So Alice will have her own memories in her watch and, you know, all those. And so I'm collecting different mediums and things, but it's a series. And so it's easier for me to mix those
Vision
things
that
that I
whole
know
thing, sure.
to make it as a whole. But
Yeah.
it also makes me grow because then if I say, well, this would look better this way, I need to learn that.
Well, it allows you to put
You know.
some blinders on to your.
To all the other ideas
Yeah.
too. Yeah, it does help to narrow that field of what I know I can do, what I want to do. And so it's the series that is the most important to me that gets made.
What about you, Christy? What are you working on?
Traveling.
Yeah, this year is a little hard as an artist because I'm mostly a full year of travel, so it's all wrapped up in workshops and things to continue that year of travel. But while I'm traveling, my brain is composing the stuff that I want to do once I finally touch down and start my studio again. And I'm really excited. I've been working on a lot of mosaic assemblage stuff, assemblage, and I want to do sculptural larger pieces, so 3D sculptural pieces with a kind of more of a mythological and psychological bent to them. So kind of like, I feel like myth embodies parts of the human experience that are at once universal and also weird, which I love. So that's kind of where I'm going to go as I gather my things
what they're
a
going to
little
look
bit.
like. I have no idea.
Right? So you shall
A lot
see.
more drawings lately.
I have, and I love that so much, which I'm also going to incorporate when I do my sculptures. There are going to be a lot more things with drawings and paintings up too. But yeah, I love doing the drawings, especially because I'm on the road.
Right.
You can take a little pad and some pens with you very easily, and whenever you're sitting for a day, do some fun little doodles. So
I thought I'd be able to do that in China, and there was no way.
no time.
Look, that shit all over the place.
Oh man,
I'm telling
easy
you.
to do.
You are busy.
I was climbing the Great Wall, going seeing tombs.
What are you going to be working on coming up?
Well, you know, we had a conversation earlier in private where we were talking about, you know, the big versus the small things. And for me, I do a lot of little things, and I do that to make it more accessible to people. But I think I'm going to do some big, crazy, wild things.
I
you know?
love that idea. You've got big, wild, crazy things in you. I really feel like
In college, I used to do great big things the size of a wall.
Really? Oh.
Paintings and art books and all kinds of stuff.
Oh,
I'll figure out the
fabulous.
slides.
I'd rather have photos. Do you have any of them?
I don't know. Maybe.
That's
Um,
exciting.
Yeah.
So I think there's some.
And now you have,
cooking.
or are about to have, and who knows when you're listening to this podcast, they will have a brand new studio to display those amazing bigger
That'd be cool.
pieces in. Yeah.
Allegory Gallery gets bigger.
Bigger, better.
Hey, and I can teach you
more
more no felt when
Andrew-y.
we start that
More
quilting
Andrew-y.
stuff.
That should be your motto. Now more Andrew-y than ever. Allegory Gallery, where Andrew is.
Right.
Bigger is better.
One day a week.
Cheers.
And William, what series are you working on?
I don't know what my next thing is.
He's working on podcasts.
No, we are. I'm excited about
Maybe he'll make my new website.
it, right?
That sounds boring. Oh, I'm sorry. Right.
Oh, excuse me, my breath caught.
I'm really liking the podcast. I'm really liking. We introduced some video tutorials on YouTube
Nice.
recently,
Mhm.
and we're selling some small kits with that. I'm really looking forward to pairing up with more artists all
Yeah.
over and making little kits and making
talking.
little video tutorials.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think the idea with the podcast is that we can talk to people from all over the country
Yeah.
and we can spread their thoughts and their ideas that way. And I think being able to jump around and do some videos might be the next.
Yeah. Oh, good idea.
Sort of focus on.
Yeah.
We
Because-
do the Around the Town series.
We do our around the town, and that's the local merchants within our town, and we're going to branch into some neighboring towns here soon.
You'll have to because Ligonier is kind of small.
Yes, there's still a lot to
Lovely,
explore here.
but you're going to run
So
out of
much to
Ligonier.
explore.
I know, actually, there really is
We
here.
also
There's
have-
layers.
We have so many people who work in town and out of town, and sometimes their studios are out of town.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And when he says out of town, it's like 10 minutes. Isn't
Yeah.
It's not like Baltimore, huh?
We don't sit in traffic for very long getting there.
It's all right. I won't let you in. There's only a small traveling line in the house. Everything's covered with craft supplies. That's what happens when the husband moves out. You got a whole lot of room to buy more craft supplies.
Yeah, but I think we do the around the town, and I like that idea. And I think, I don't know, I so many artists are doing their own videos and their own things.
Yes.
And I think just to get a collection of people together from maybe a different point of view, or just that you have all the contrast in one space. I think that would
Oh,
be
that's interesting.
to see.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah.
You know, it might be neat is if you have, like, if you ask an artist to do a show and stuff, have a podcast with the video
Mhm.
there that if a person comes in to see the show, they can press on it, listen to
Right.
it, and
They're done.
I know you have, but
Yeah.
maybe in a different way
We are
than
trying
what
to
I'm
be more
suggesting.
interactive with our shows. We are trying to do more that
We
way.
did a show you were in, the bead show,
Mm-hmm.
where we had QR codes on the walls, and if you had a smartphone that could read QR codes, you could be
You scan them in,
video.
and go into the
Okay.
or-
What's a
Oh,
QR
nice.
code? Okay.
Yeah.
But what did it do? Give you
So
information?
what it did
That's right,
is I
just
built
They were
out
videos
I
and
built out
websites.
personal web pages for each artist.
That's
So
pretty
when you
cool.
Scan that
A lot
code.
of work.
Yeah. And people some artists sent us videos, some just pictures, or some it was just the links of their work so you could see more. And sometimes we had beads behind the scene that didn't fit on the wall. So we had all of that stuff within that little code.
So like self-guided
Yeah.
virtual
And
tour.
I'm
that
really
way.
excited about AR, augmented reality.
Mhm.
I don't know where that's going to lead or what that's going to do, but I think that could be super beneficial to people who
Yeah.
are designers.
Oh, yeah.
Because I just imagine everyone talks about you're going to have glasses where you're going to layer over things over reality. And
Mm.
I think the idea of a bead supplier that can somehow create augmented reality where you can place a bead before you buy it, it's just as good as being in person or
Yes.
very close, so that when you are looking at your design, you can have it mostly laid out and you can put on your glasses and you can
See
see
how
okay,
that
well,
bead would
Allegory
look in
Gallery
there.
has this bead, will it fit here? And what will
Or will it look
my
good, too?
design?
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot that can be done with the jewelry landscape that way.
Oh,
Just
yes,
the
yes.
artistic landscape.
Well, I already know I'm not smart enough for that.
I don't know.
So
that
it's
I
a
am
good
smart
thing you
enough for
guys
all
have
that, but-
partnered together because that sounds pretty
But I
amazing.
mean, it's I don't know yet. These ideas are things that we think about, and what could be beneficial to the people who support us.
It keeps us excited as makers, as IT guys.
Right.
He's a maker.
Well,
Yeah.
we talked about how Kelly and Christi kind of have the collaboration and feed off ideas. And the same thing with our business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
feed off.
Good about
Yeah.
We do the similar thing, but instead of jewelry and beading techniques, we talk about small business and
Yeah.
how you can better
Riff on that.
amplify your message. And
Yeah. It's nice to have people that you can talk to help you kind of see your vision and stay sane.
Or
I
not.
think that's it.
not some days.
We're not.
I think that's it. Well, the or not part I don't think is a good note to leave off on, but the other part.
And we're, yay! You're doing great. You're doing
Insane a little
great.
while, I think.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds awesome. I love it. Love you guys. I
Yep.
love being here and being able
Yep,
to chat
back at
together.
you.
It's been really
Yeah.
fun. Yeah. Yeah.
I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed my time here.
Yay.
I shouldn't have put it off for so long.
No.
I know.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
And here we are.
I'm in a better headspace, and
Yeah.
You can enjoy it better.
So
Yeah.
our motto then, or our takeaway from this podcast is, do you got friends? Go see them and
Right.
have fun with them.
and make stuff.
And
Bigger
make some
is
stuff.
better.
Yeah.
You know that's getting edited out. Because people are like, what?
That was where he's going, remember?
Yeah.
Bigger is better. Bigger place, bigger picture, bigger everything.
Group of friends.
Bigger technology, bigger everything. Okay, we'll go with that. Bigger.
On that note, bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in.